former President Donald Trump easily won most of yesterday's Republican primaries, with the exception of Vermont. And this morning, Nikki Haley suspended her campaign. But lots of people were wondering, would she endorse Trump? Here's what Haley had to say. Watch.
It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and beyond it who did not support him. And I hope he does that. At its best, politics is about bringing people into your cause, not turning them away. And our conservative cause badly needs more people. This is now his time for choosing.
One of the biggest concerns for both Democrats and Republicans, will people turn up at the polls? And DBL Nation always want to hear from you. With this likely Trump-Biden rematch, whether we like it or not, do you plan to vote in November? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. And do you think that Haley voters will show up at the polls for Trump? That is the big question. You are nodding your head, Al.
I do not.
You don't?
You know, I was sitting here just thinking about, I got from her words, ball's in your court, dude. Like, my voters are here. You know what my concerns were when we were debating each other. What are you going to do about it? I don't think Trump is going to make any moves to acquiesce to her base, but I think that she does represent a significant amount of financially well-to-do suburban conservative women that will go out and vote, that will go out and vote and campaign for you, that don't like the antics that they've seen up to this point. And that base is there for the taking. And when we know that these votes are decided on the margins, suburban women is a huge margin to just kind of throw away.
I gotta be honest with you, you completely are right with the numbers. Get this, guys, 80%, I couldn't believe this number, of Haley voters in North Carolina are unwilling to say they'll support the party's nominee, whoever it is. 80%. That's an enormous amount of people that we would usually see move over. But as she said, politics is about unifying. Trump's a divider. He always has been. He's not a unifier. He's already called her a bird brain 4 times on his social media today. So in no way,
a bird brain tracker.
there's no way this big chunk that you say is going to easily move over because of just what you said, the tone of the Trump antics. So we have it in the numbers here. 54% of California Republican voters disapproved of Trump's performance as president. So in there is this big chunk that everybody wants, and a lot of them are going to sit it out, is what I worry.
You think they're going to sit out as opposed to move over to Biden or independent or something like that?
That's what worries me. Now, some people are going to vote for Trump because they hate Biden so much, and many people are going to vote for Biden because they hate Trump. So it's not 2 likable candidates anymore. It's 2 unlikable candidates. You're voting for policies. I think abortion's a big one. And for Republicans, I think it's economy. But again, no one is saying, pick me because I'm likable. Everyone's like, ugh, who is the worst of the worst?
Well, before you jump in, Jeff and Erica, to your point, Tori, now that Super Tuesday is done, experts are poring over some of the exit polls and what they mean. So here are just some of the interesting findings. A majority of Republican voters in 6 states all say that Trump would be fit for the presidency if he is convicted of a crime. Next, a majority of Republican voters in those same 6 states also believe that Joe Biden did not legitimately win the presidency in 2020. And the issue that mattered most to Republican voters, as you just said, Tori, is that it comes down to 2 things for them: the economy and immigration. Okay, so Erica, does that somewhat answer your question, or do you think that people are not going to show up to the polls?
I mean, these are things that are yet to be seen. And I feel like when we're having this conversation now versus when we had this conversation 8 years ago, there was a lot of like, well, this couldn't possibly happen, or the president doesn't really have that much power. And now we're seeing like the after effects of this Trump effect. I think Haley made the right move yesterday, exactly how she played it. Because when it comes down to it, whatever happens during whoever wins, like let's say Trump wins, then we are going to have after effects of that for some time to come. But he's not going to be a part of those after effects for some time to come. Those are consequences we will have to live with. But who's going to come up and basically be like the counter to Trump that people who are in his corner right now are going to be like basically the antithesis to? So like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If we have someone who is a Democrat who exemplifies all of these things as a convicted or implicated felon, are they going to support this idea of him being in office? I feel like this is setting a precedence that we are not prepared for either way.
Totally agree.
Jeff, what are you
totally
thinking?
Agree.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to bring people out. Obviously, our audience thinks it will. 88% of people are going to go vote. But
Good.
I just think, yeah, definitely great. But I don't know, because it's the same two candidates. And this is what America really didn't want. We always hear from the far left. We always hear from the far right. What does the middle of the country want to do? What does the moderates want to do? That's going to swing the election. I'm no politician. I don't pretend to know politics. But if I were Donald Trump, I do a lot of things different. But I would have had Nikki Haley endorse me. I would have took her on as my VP. Because if you take those votes that she is getting and Trump is not, that's going to be a Republican vote for you. Now, if you're calling her a bird brain and pushing those voters away, it's going to go to Joe Biden, just to spite Trump. Yeah. And I think a lot of this election is about spite. I hate Donald Trump. I hate Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's either I don't like this or that.
I was going to say you're calling her voters. That's
what I'm saying.
What they hear.
And I also know that, this large group of suburban moms, I can speak for myself. The one thing that irks me the most that I tell my child is to be kind, inclusive, and do not call people names. So when you hear the president, former president, maybe future president of the United States calling people names, that to me is egregious. It is.
But just so you know.
But I know other suburban moms who may be Republicans, I guarantee you that bothers them too.
I completely agree. But Trump has always called people's name. Lying Ted, Sleepy Joe, Pocahontas. He has done it from day one, and people love it. I agree with you. It is branding, and they love it.
I don't know if it's working anymore. I think we're 8 years down the road.
I agree. 88%, again, to Jeff's point, you guys, our viewers, will show up to vote. So thank you for that.